Hi everyone, welcome back to 140,000 Rogue Trader DLC. We're here at Dargonus. Let's go and do Abelard's family quest. Take Abelard. Take Bella. Leave Argenta. Leave Earliet. Oh, maybe we should take Jai. Jai's really good at social. Yeah, I'll do that. Okay, let's do that. Jai is the fellowship social thing. Much more than I am. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand aside. Don't use the crowd around. Governor Drivestem will take care of everything. I've replaced him though. I'm sure I said the Werserian family should be Governor. This is ridiculous. Such a thing happening right in the Rogue Trader's Palace. It is disgraceful. Confronted by the sight of dead bodies at the entrance to the palace, the corpses have been hauled into a pile. Some are dressed in the uniforms of palace wardens, while others are arrayed in clothing typical of Dargonus nobility. Upon seeing you, the young enforcer stands at attention and swallows noisily. His voice trembles as he says, "Your lordship, we are honoured by your presence." Stu and Medicay examine the assailants. The bodies of the assailants are studded with many augmetics. On closer inspection, you realise that they're not merely implants. Their construction makes it clear that the deceased were not humans, but in fact, rare, high-functioning servitors. Abelard frowns. As far as I know, Hasgaprak has received such servitors from the Crimson Priesthood as gifts in the past. Although this is my first time seeing one myself. Point to the dead body. What's going on here? You see, your lordship, these people wanted to attack. The warden clears his throat. Second Lieutenant of the Palace Guard, Elam Veit, reporting. Shortly before you arrived, we averted an assassination attempt on the Rogue Trader. The palace soldiers detected intruders and engaged them in combat. Where's the Court Chancellor, Clementia Werserian? I think she's with the rest of House Werserian, detained in the throne room. That is, Governor Drivestem has gathered all of Dargonus' nobility there to pronounce a guilty verdict against House Werserian. Why is the governor not here to greet the Rogue Trader? I do not know, your lordship. Perhaps he is. The guard throws a fearful gaze at Abelard. You can probably find him in the throne room, where the governor intends to put House Werserian on trial. Take my leave. The bodies bear multiple wounds, evidence they died recently.
That wasn't so difficult.
There's a crumpled up letter in the inside pocket of the assailant's blood-soaked jacket. A blood-stained letter. The letter is soaked with blood. Only a portion of the text is readable through the crimson blotches. Careful and discreet, so careful and discreet. Keep away from the lords and ladies. You must look like a noble to the servants and wardens. Do not engage in conversation with anyone. Your task is to avoid exposing yourself ahead of time and let the Werserians get away while the wardens are busy guarding the Rogue Trader. Some kind of conspiracy here then. Oh, I might appear. That's weird. Upside down map. Oh, this is back again.
I always have a backup plan.
Description is as before. Got rid of the corpses. Well, the people that were tied up were shooting. Ancient Cogitator, a link to the palace system networks. Okay. What's my order? What's Jai doing up front? I don't need to be up front. Neither does Cabela, because she's got loads of movement.
Keep your wits about you.
Still a shady character? A lovely day it is, your lordship. Your presence only makes it better. He was doing something dodgy during my Magna Sessio. Could have a gamma messengers. May the Omnissiah bless the Von Valancius dynasty. Okay. Some noblemen and aristocrats. Throw a coin in? What's that? Yeah.
Is there money to be
Same
made?
as before. Anything to the palace wardens are standing guard, your lordship. No one will disturb you and your guests from now on. Nothing to the sides. No. Nope. Let's go into the palace. Oh, this is episode 100 of this one too. Cool. Slightly over 100 hours. We got aristocrats, noble people.
Is it seemly for valued servants of the Emperor to huddle together in such a squalid abode?
We attach importance to other things, Venai Cassia. Ascesis is how we achieve self-perfection. Our feats of faith are our gold, and the prayers written upon our walls serve as our murals.
Ooh, nice. Okay. The man swaying slightly is mumbling a prayer to the Emperor. Gaprak, noble person. Aristocrat.
I always keep my options open.
Anything in my office? Or is it just the same as before? Dusty and cogitator and library stuff. No, it's all been removed. There's a view outside. In the bedroom and in the dodgy Xenotech Heresy Lab museum thing.
Always keep your eye on the prize.
I wonder if I've asked up the Void Shadows thing. Because I've got this. From chapter 2. I hope I haven't asked that up.
I always have a backup plan.
Okay. Nothing over here. Oh no. Talkie, let me through. I'm an appointment with Chancellor Clementi of Werserian. My apologies, my lord, but you cannot go any further. Governor Drivestem's orders. Look at them having bloody tantrums. This is ridiculous. How shall I complain? Move over. Let his lordship the rogue trader through. Yeah, know your place. I humbly beg your pardon, your lordship. Get out. Your lordship, please, this way. Governor Urban Drivestem. Your lordship, 'tis an honour. Governor Urban Drivestem seems to materialise out of thin air so suddenly that he emerged from the crowd. I regret that such unfortunate circumstances have occasioned the rogue trader visit to the capital. Clementia tries to take a step toward you, but the warden nearby stops her. Her face is veiled with fear and grimness. Your lordship, you're here. Please, you must hear us out. The rogue trader is undoubtedly here to listen to the testimony of each and every one of us, and to punish the traitors. The governor's words directed at Clementia are harsh. They're echoed by the scornful sneers and whispers of the assembled nobles. From Abelard. We have known each other for many decades now. We have had our fair share of disagreements, but do you really think my flesh and blood would trample upon the very definition of honor and loyalty? Abelard's voice is quivering with rage. The governor sweeps his gaze over Abelard, then replies, a faint shadow of doubt in his voice. We have evidence implicating them, Abelard. I'm sure his lordship will arrive at a fair ruling. What are the charges against House Werserian? Disruption of logistical lines, bribery of Adeptus administrative officials, document forgery, and organisation of heretical insurrections. On top of the evidently devastating economic impact this has had on your protectorate, these criminal acts have impeded the delivery of the Imperial tithe, which, in turn, has drawn the administratum's attention. An esteemed member of the Adeptus Arbites is expected to arrive on Dalgonus shortly, and before they do, we are obligated to identify and punish those responsible. Clementia, I wish to hear your account. Your lordship, House Werserian denies all charges laid against it. Clementia glances at the governor with defiance. These last few months have indeed been trying for Dalgonus, but we've done our best to remedy the situation. My family's every effort was focused on stabilizing the capital's logistics and economy. So much so that we failed to notice the web of intrigue unfolding behind our backs. What happened on Dalgonus in my absence? When we caught wind of the rumours of your disappearance, we patiently awaited news of your return, but then Dalgonus was struck by a series of terrible events. The first was the sabotage of logistics that hampered shipments. Then mass unrest spread across the entire planet, and the minor noble houses became squabbling among themselves, trying to pin the blame on their rivals. We took great pains to calm them down, and then managed to quash the revolt, though not without some outside help, unfortunately. What's the outside help? These events have also been overshadowed by the, I'm ashamed to say it aloud in front of you, your lordship, the rumours circulate among the higher houses. The governor stammers, then takes a deep breath. Some were calling for Theodorus true heir to be installed as the head of your house, Conrad Voitvia. Not all of your subjects have forgotten his past efforts for the benefit of the trade protectorate. Drivestem stops talking, watching you with a tense expression. When the investigation was launched, evidence led us to the Werserians. Why the dead bodies at the entrance to my palace? Your lordship, I humbly beg your pardon. Drivestem bows once again, trying to placate you. You see, right before your arrival, the palace guard discovered a plot to assassinate you. Fortunately, the malefactors were disposed of before they could cause you any harm. Drivestem, you aren't accusing one of the Dalgonus leading noble houses of treason without any airtight evidence, are you? Of course I have evidence, your lordship. The investigation has established that members of the Werserian family, which is responsible for both Dalgonus' fleet and its logistics, used their contacts and influence to forge a host of documents in order to undermine the planet's supply routes and economy. This fomented unrest among the inhabitants. Allow me to introduce my son, Cornelius. The governor points to the lanky young man standing beside him. He bows curtly, but avoids meeting your eye. Cornelius holds a prestigious position at the Administratum Palace. It's thanks to him that we managed to identify and trace the entire chain of forged documents. The investigation led us to the perpetrators, who admitted to acting on the orders of members of the House Werserian. It was they who were intent on spreading the idea of restoring the title of Rogue Trader to their true heir. This young man is shrouded in a mist of grey and blue. Sickly shadows of fear are flitting around him. Cassie speaks so quietly that only you can hear her. Speak to the heads of the houses present. Do you support the governor's accusations? The aristocrats and attendants exchange glances, the noble lords averting their gazes, and the noble ladies hiding behind the fans. No one is willing to be the first to answer. Macarius Saubach. Of his many years of service, Governor Drivestem earned Theodorus' trust, and he holds his high office for a reason. Saubach's tone is stern and imperious. On behalf of House Saubach, I support his accusations. From Regina Saubach. My apologies, your lordship, I wish to speak to. Regina looks into your eyes with a tender half smile, then turns her gaze on her husband. Of course, I agree with my husband. Governor Drivestem would not press charges against anyone if we're not absolutely certain of the authenticity of the evidence he had unearthed. I think anyone here would agree that anyone who ever doubts the authority of the true rogue trader should be prosecuted. I'm sure, your lordship, that you will eradicate the scourge of heresy from your domain. Regina bows to you deferentially while maintaining eye contact with you. Taviana Gaprak. Your lordship, Governor Drivestem has always faithfully served the house traders of House von Valancius and concerned himself with the future of your trade dynasty, and so House Gaprak thinks his charges against House Werserian are sound. The hermetics hide Taviana's emotion, but her voice sounds slightly timorous. From Clementia, I humbly ask you to allow me to speak in defense of my family's honor. The evidence provided by the governor is utterly false. I cannot refute it, but I can say with confidence that no one from my family has ever tried to forge documents in the Adeptus Administratum, let alone undermine the economy of your capital. Sabotage and logistics, riots, conspiracy. The case appears to be flimsy. I wish to learn more before I make my final decision. As you wish, your lordship. The governor inclines his head in a stiff bow. Speak to me when you're ready to announce your verdict. Thank you for your willingness to help, Lord Captain. I'm certain that all the charges are false, and I'll be grateful for your help to expose them as such. I think you should speak to everyone present, the noble lords and ladies. Thanks, Abelard. I think I will. Okay. Got Clementia up there. Sailbacks, Gapraks, and drive stems. Let's do a round robin. Let's see what we get from that. Start here. And Clementia. As you draw closer, the wardens step aside, bowing respectfully, allowing you to approach the Werserian family. Clementia, tired and slightly dishevelled, is the first to bow her head to you in deference. Several men and women behind her follow suit. Your lordship, the woman stammers, as if lost for words. Accept my most humble apologies for failing to greet you properly. My thanks for agreeing to speak to me before making your final decision. The charges brought by the governor are severe, but I can only assure you of this and swear on my own honour. We are not guilty of the crimes that House Werserian is being accused of. Clementia. A hint of sorrow creeps into Abelard's voice, belying his stern facade. You are acting head of this family. You're supposed to take care of each and every family member. And now you're being accused of treason and collusion against the rogue trader. The entire family is facing death. How could you let this happen? Are you truly guilty? Be honest. I won't tolerate lies. Clemente, if you know that a member of the family is guilty of the crimes you're being accused of. Abelard, it's your family too, you know. The woman's words burn with defiance. My apologies. I should not lose my composure. No member of House Werserian is involved in conspiracy against his lordship. Honour and loyalty are not something we take lightly, and we know whom we serve. The governor claims you forged documents in the administratum. The fleet is the primary remit of House Werserian. It is our responsibility. Logistics and supply routes are another area of our responsibility. We have no direct influence on the inner workings of the Adeptus Administratum. The first large-scale deliveries were cancelled after quantities of food were miscalculated by clerks in the Administratum. Then we were faced with incorrect weather data and a meagre fuel budget. It was clear that the case of all these problems was the calculations performed in the Administratum. One way or another, no matter how many times we asked, we cannot obtain any clarification on the matter. I found this letter on one of the bodies of the heretics who planned the attack. What can you tell me about it? While Clementia reads the letter, the Werserians behind her read it over her shoulder. Your lordship, let's be frank. It would be foolish of me to try to orchestrate something like this, knowing how many wardens are patrolling your palace. I would not let myself or anyone in my family get involved in such a scheme. The attackers were high-functioning servitors, one that looked closer to ordinary humans. Do you know anything about them? Servitors, is that so? Clementia crosses her arms and furrows her brow deep in thought. I have encountered servitors that were indistinguishable from normal augmented humans, but only once. They were accompanied by several members of House Gaprak. If you're not guilty, who is? Who stands to gain from framing you? Anyone, really. Clementia replies with a bitter laugh. The other houses consider us unworthy of our position, and many would jump at the chance to get rid of us and gain control over what was once our domain, the planet's fleet and logistics at the very least. From Abelard. Lady Theodora chose to grant noble status to House Werserian, but the other houses, which have served in the Expanse for millennia, did not welcome the decision, and it's led to some difficulties. I want to find out what's going on here, and who the real mastermind behind all this is. Where shall I start? I'm afraid I cannot be of much help. Talk to the representatives of other houses, eavesdrop on their retinue. Perhaps you will hear something unusual. I'll take my leave. Okay, so flat out refusal, or refute, I should say. What the hell's going on here, servants? So, pretty quick save after all that talky. Governor Drivestem is surrounded by his retinue, all dressed in expensive gowns and finery. The matching colour scheme of their outfits and striking physical resemblance among them suggests they all come from one family. Inbred by the sound of it. Your Lordship, thank you for giving this case your undivided attention. The Governor bows, and the rest hasten to follow suit. I wish to hear your reason again. What makes you think the Werserians are behind the plot against me? As soon as the logistical and economic problems gave rise to initial rumours, we tried to find the person responsible for spreading the calls for his return. The investigation showed that some of the documents inside the Debtors Administratum were forgeries. We can thank my son Cornelius for such astute observations. Your Lordship, a slender young man bows to you awkwardly and nervously licks his dry lips. I assure you that my humble person is undeserving of your attention. Cornelius holds the prestigious position at the Administratum Palace. It's he who discovered the errors leading to the disrupted logistics. It's also thanks to him that we found the perpetrators of the forgeries, who admitted to acting on the orders of House Werserian. What do you make of this letter? I found it on one of the assailants. Governor Drivestem peers closely at the blood-stained paper. It looks like another piece of evidence incriminating House Werserian. Perhaps they truly did intend to kill you, or at least cause a stir to help them escape custody during the confusion that followed. All of the assailants were high-functioning... I want to get his son. All of the assailants were high-functioning servitors. Such servitors are only employed by families close to the Adeptus Mechanicus. High-functioning servitors. Drivestem ponders this, rubbing his chin with his thumb. Such servitors are indeed rare, and the Gapraks do have them in their service, but this could have been done intentionally with an eye to confusing you. Anyone with the desire and sufficient funds can hire them. Tell me about your son, Drivestem. Thank you for your interest, your Lordship, but I am not worthy of it. The Governor's son bows and stands still as he nervously stares down at the floor. Son, show due respect, forgive him, your Lordship. It's the first time he's had the honour of attracting the attention of the rogue trader. Tell me more about your job, Cornelius. What do you do? I manage the documents and records related to the economy of Dargonus. You probably know how scrupulous the workers of the Debtors Administratum are. I'm afraid that a more detailed explanation of my duties would mirror the administrative process of the Administratum. Too long and overly detailed. Cornelius tries to look you in the eye, but it's clearly hard for him to do. How did you manage to find the forged documents in the bureaucratic hell that is the Administratum? When compiling reports on last cycle's supply chain, I noticed inaccuracies and discrepancies in the figures. With the help of the other clerks, I managed to find several other documents. Cornelius stammers and swallows noisily. Comprehensive data analysis has shown that the discrepancies were caused by intentional tampering with the data, thus leading to some logistical problems that were practically unsolvable. Father and I have managed to single out our administrative clerks responsible for tampering with the data. Following a heated interrogation, they confessed they were following the orders of someone from House Werserian. Everything was supposed to look as though they were the ones suffering losses from logistical and economic problems. But does House Werserian have access to Adeptus Administratum? There's no conceivable way that they would do all this in place, but they do not hold any power. Before replying, the governor's son nervously adjusts his expensive frock coat. I think the right amount of money can open any door. Cornelius, what's the true reason for your nervousness? The young man's pupils suddenly dilate. He stands at attention, replies to you in one breath. This is the first time I've spoken face to face with a rogue trader. I'm afraid of saying something wrong, of forgetting something important. The governor closely watches his son. His tone changes, now sounding strict and curt. Do you wish to tell the Lord Captain something else? Wow, Cassia's got coercion. Jesus. Place your hand on your weapon. You're speaking to a rogue trader. My patience is running out. Excuse me. You see a flash of terror. Cornelius' eyes. He stares at your hand on your weapon. He speaks quietly, confusedly, without raising his head. Forgive me, your lordship. I can't do it anymore. This lie has gone too far. I can no longer control it. The truth is that all the logistical problems were caused by a single error in the numbers. My mistake. What? Urbender looks genuinely shocked and enraged. When I discovered my mistake, it was almost impossible to restore supply lines. Then I was approached by someone who said they were a friend. They did not give me their name, and I never saw their face. They promised to fix the problem. All I had to do was pretend that the Werserians were responsible for the mistake. And as for the rest of the evidence, they promised to arrange it all and Cornelius is suffocated with fear, unable to speak. Urbend curls his hands into fists, then knuckles turning white. What have you done? How could you? Your lordship. He suddenly turns to you as if trying to shield his son. This is my fault. I trusted my son and I have failed you in doing so. I beg you, have mercy. Abelard shakes his head. And you called my family's honour into question, Urbend. Nevertheless, I have no desire to kick a man when he is down. Lord Captain, the confession you obtained in the House Werserian can now be cleared of all charges. But we still do not know who was behind the forgeries, the riots, the plot, and the assassination attempt. Someone is committing their foul deeds and sowing chaos right under your subjects' noses. To leave that stone unturned would be dangerous. What is this friend that approached you, Cornelius? How did the two of you communicate? By letter. I received a letter out of the blue one day. It was unsigned, but the person writing it already knew about my erroneous calculations. They offered to help me cover up my misdeed, and in return, I would name them Werserians, who was the one who sabotaged the supply lines. All I had to do was gather together some documents and reports that were listed in one of the letters. That, I keep my mouth shut. Don't kill him. Urbend, your son has found the courage to admit his mistake. I will try and find some compassion for him in my heart. Thank you, lordship. The governor bows low and gives his son a full look of bitterness and frustration. And as for your position, I think you will be reassigned to a role requiring less responsibility. I shall return to you later. I was going to talk to the others.
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
Let's talk to the Gapraks about their servitors. Vincent, Toriana. Where's the other one? No, I'm thinking of the Saddlebacks. The lords and ladies sumptuously dressed in the colours of House Gaprak stand in a half circle around Toriana and her son, Vincent. The bodies and faces of almost every member of this dynasty are covered in large, ornate augmetics. Toriana Gaprak curtsies to you. Her mechanical voice sounds distant and indifferent. Greetings, your lordship. May the Omnissiah grant you understanding. With a click, her visor oculus swiveled to the seneschal. Abelard, it must be difficult for you to be here under these circumstances, with your house standing accused of such a grave crime. My family, Lady Toriana, is yet to be found guilty of anything. That verdict is for the rogue trader to reach. Do you think the accusations against the Werserian family are true? I will not take such a responsibility upon myself and rule on the guilt, your lordship. I do think Governor Drivestem's accusations are worthy of consideration, however. In your opinion, which nobles might have a reason to be party of such a conspiracy? She thinks for several moments before replying. Pardon my bluntness, your lordship, but I will answer truthfully. It could be anyone. Greed, fear, and ideals can drive even the most loyal subjects to do the unthinkable. I've examined the bodies of the assailants that were killed today. All of them were high-functioning servitors. Such servitors are only employed by families close to their Adeptus Mechanicus. Isn't that so? It is impossible to read Toriana's emotions in a heavily augmatic face, but a sudden turn toward her family betrays confusion and surprise. Perplexed, whispers bounce from one family member to another. Impossible. We came here by ourselves, without any servitors. We know nothing about it. Your lordship, thank you for informing us of this. You're absolutely right. My house has indeed been endowed with high-functioning servitors, a blessing for those who revere the Omnissiah. But today, none of our house members were accompanied by them. I found this note on the bodies of one of the attackers. What are your thoughts on it? Toriana's mechanical fingers gripped the paper. Officially, high-functioning servitors are employed by my house and my house alone. If such units were to attack the rogue trader, suspicion would instantly fall upon Gaprax. I assume that this is what the Werserians intended to happen. They did not expect that the servitors would have this letter on them. We sent to wish to speak to you. Ready to serve, your lordship. How may I help you? What do you make of the charges against the Werserian family? Could they truly be guilty? I do not think I can doubt the validity of the accusations, but Vincent's voice trails off and he seems to retreat into himself for a moment before continuing. He takes a deep breath. I'm also not so sure the House of Werserian had any reason to betray you, your lordship. I do not know of any instance where their loyalty to you and the Emperor was anything less than unwavering. And now you care for Astartia, Werserian. Are you prepared to watch her die? Vincent's jaw augmatic screeches slightly, then the young man scrutinizes his mother and other family members for a few moments. There's something you ought to know, lordship. Today I noticed one of my family members to be in an odd, characteristic mood. Alan Gaprak is my paternal second cousin, once removed. May the Emperor save his soul. Usually reserved and self-possessed, today he was frantic and anxious, fidgeting with a small piece of paper, seemingly looking for someone to no avail. When I last saw him, he was headed towards the entrance hall, where the altars are. Perhaps you should talk to him. That will do. Shall I take my leave? Okay. Let's have a chat with the Sourbacks. Does seem like someone's tried to set up Gaprax and Drive Stems and the Werserians. And there's only one family left.
I always keep my options open.
Micaiah Sourback before bowing. Sourback scrutinized you with a bitter, judgmental look. Your lordship. Heretic Sourback, looking like a younger copy of his father, stands at a slight distance, close to his mother. An expensive yet understated dress serves to highlight the dazzling beauty of Micaiah's wife, Regina Sourback. Your lordship, I'm delighted that you've chosen to grace us with your attention. Regina drops into a curtsy while looking intently into your eyes. Do you really believe the Werserians are guilty? Certainly, Sourback replies without hesitation. Governor Drivestem possesses proof of their guilt, and they have no reason by which to refute it. Even if I were to entertain the idea that the Werserians are being framed, how much longer would their house have lasted anyway, if it is so ill-prepared for treachery? He addresses Abelard with a slightly mocking tone. My advice to House Werserian would be not to appeal to the rogue trader for help, but instead to simply stop, accept their fate, and not make matters worse for themselves. I cannot remember Jellybobs from Valencia seeking your advice on what House Werserian should do in this situation. Pay attention, Macarius. Focus on the rogue trader's questions. Nice one, Abelard. Who, apart from the Werserians, could have a motive to conspire against me? House Strifestem, wishing to expand their clout. House Gaprek, who have lost their influence after Kiava Gamma incident. Sarabak looks back at his family and turns to you again. Now Sarabak, whose patriarch has too direct his communications with the rogue trader. Anyone could have a reason to conspire against you, and equally, they could have none. It's not a question of motive, but of loyalty. Each of your subjects has sworn an oath of loyalty to you, so whose sincerity do you doubt? The assailants sent to the palace were rare, high-functioning servitors. Do you think the Gaprags could be behind the attack? Sarabak looks away briefly and replies to you with a curt laugh. I've always thought Toriana too weak to participate in such risky ventures, but it seems I was wrong about her. Kiss Regina's hand. I'm honoured, Lady Sarabak. Noticing your gesture, Regina readily extends her delicate hand, her nails long and manicured. Why? How kind of you to say, your lordship. Burning eyes fixed on you, Sarabak straightens and leans forward, trying to partially occupy the space between you and his wife. Set against the doom, and gloom of current events, you and your husband's dour family, you look especially dazzling today, Regina. A flirtatious spark flares in the beautiful lady's eyes. Really, lordship, glad to hear this on the rogue trader, especially today. The car of someone's barks, each word striking like a hammer strikes metal. Regina steps away from his lordship. Regina's high voice almost breaks into a shriek. She interrupts her husband, retorting defiantly and disobediently, overthrowing preserved you, Macarius. Stop being so jealous and making a scene over nothing. Just because a crude blockhead like you likes the refinement and courtesy of Jellybobs von Valancius. Regina's voice drops to a whisper, so you can hear her. His bile poisons the air around him whenever he goes. Once he gets something in his head, he hairs off to remove the heads of others just to prove that he is right. No, good. Nothing from Hetka. Nothing from there. Okay.
Is there money to be made?
Let's go to stir a bit of dissent amongst the ranks. Okay, Helen Gagpack is down here. Excuse me. A finely dressed man of middle years is kneeling in front of the altar, his palms folded in prayer close to his face. The implant-free parts of his skin are thickly blue colour. The old man does not react to your presence, does not lift his head, does not blink, does not even breathe. Only when you draw closer do you realise that he is dead. And now he falls over. Must have touched him. Abelard looks at the man, his eyes grim. The colours of House Gaprak. Do not believe he decided to take his own life in such an extravagant way. As far as I know, there's a warden post here. We do not see any wardens. The Essential looks around. There's no one to ask about what happened here, or with whom this man spoke before he died. I would like to ask Urband where the palace guard suddenly disappeared to. Cabela quickly examines the body. The man was poisoned. A paralyzing toxin. The victim cannot scream, call for help, attract attention, or even breathe. A good tool for silent killing, and I've made use of it in the past. Examine the body. There are no visible wounds on the body, but near the edge of a gold-trimmed collar, he notes a tiny puncture in the blue skin, likely a wound caused by a thin needle. Wow. Surely a 50% chance on that. Search the pockets. You discover a secret pocket in the line of the dead man's luxurious jacket. You find a folded piece of paper inside, hiding behind a handkerchief embroidered with the initials HG, which is his thing. Look around. You're almost certain that wardens are usually stationed nearby, but the post is empty. Where'd they gone? It's been an excellent question to put to Governor Drivestem. Step away from the corpse and have a look at this note. Short note. Make sure that the rogue trader is attacked by someone loyal. It should appear as if it was all staged to let the Werserian family escape. This is the last assignment. Soon your debt will be paid off in full. Okay. Looks like we have to talk to the Gapraks. And the drive stems.
Always keep your eye on the price.
Because it was Vicent who told us about this person who was acting a bit strange. Tariana Gaprak curses to you, a mechanical voice sounding distant and different. Greetings, your lordship. May the Omnissiah grant you understanding. And that's the same as before. And that's the same as before. I discovered a dead body, a member of your house, right here in my palace. He died kneeling in fear. Tariana covers her open mouth with a hand in surprise. Turning to her family, looks for someone among them. Halen, it can't be. Halen, was it? Tell me about him, Tariana. Halen is one of the lower-ranking members of House Gaprak. Despite his advanced age, he never held a high office. But he was forever striving to better his position, even beyond his abilities. Many members of my house struggle to cope with the misfortune that befell Kiara Gamma and our family. Some members cannot reconcile themselves to our new position. Halen was one of them. What could have happened to him? Tariana's visor oculars are fixed on the floor, her fingers restlessly clenching the fabric of her dress. Tariana, the time to keep silent is long gone. The future of the Von Valances trade dynasty and your house are both at stake now. We lost Kiara Gamma, a truly devastating blow to every member of House Gaprak. I lost all hope for the future, and my kin lost their sense of purpose. We needed time to recover and chart a new course for ourselves. We were and still are more capable of doing that, but I will not deny it. The other houses have offered us their assistance for their own self-serving ends. Perhaps Halen decided to take them up on one of their offers behind my back. The Sensual bows ever so slightly, speaks quietly so only you can hear him, Lord Captain. The Gapraks, or perhaps only some of them, are definitely involved. But I suspect they were not behind the plot against you. Halen Gaprak could be nothing more than a puppet in the hands of a deft puppet master. We must expose whoever that is if we are to prevent the pestilence of heresy from spreading any further. What do you suggest we do? Interrogate the heads of the drive stem and saddleback houses. One of them has been pulling the strings here. Once we uncover new evidence, announce that the guilty party will be publicly executed. Before you pronounce the verdict, I suggest focus on each house in your indictment speech, and I shall observe them. I have known these people far longer than you have. I know all their gestures, habits, and behavioural quirks. I'm sure I'll be able to determine which of them is responsible for the rise based on their behaviour. Okay, can I talk about the note? Oh yeah, I found this note on one of the bodies of the attackers. Okay, now that's different. I can't talk about the note I found on him.
About you.
Damn it. I wonder if that will arse things up. I found a dead body in my palace. A member of House Gaprak was slain in front of an altar. Do you know anything about it? Or did you see Halen Gaprak today before I arrived? Halen? I don't see myself, but perhaps. The corner turns around and asks his family. Have any of you seen him today? The nobles talk quietly among themselves. Then a middle-aged woman with a tall, extravagant hairstyle replies to you. I think my sister and I saw him sit on a bench some distance away from the palace's entrance. We think he was accompanied by a gentleman, but forgive us, your lordship. We cannot make out his face. Lead me to that place. Of course, consider it done.
Let us not dawdle.
It's all Lord Gaprak conversing with someone here, your lordship.
Over.
Adira did the awareness test. Abelard, I recognise this bouquet. House Sauerbach usually reserves this wine. It was an honour to assist you. So, he was talking with someone from House Sauerbach, and then he died. I found a dead body in my palace. A member of House Gaprak was slain in front of an altar. Do you know anything about it? A member of House Gaprak was killed in palace. One of his eyes bulged in surprise, and no one noticed, but how? There were wardens posted at every altar. There was no one near the deceased. The wardens had left their post. Did you order them to do so? Emperor forbid, your lordship. The governor helplessly throws up his hands in the air, as if to signify his powerlessness. Your negligence is stunning, Urbend. An assassination attempt followed by a mysterious death, and yet here you are, oblivious to everything. The rogue trader can justly accuse you of allowing a noble to be killed in the palace, and are failing even to notice it. It may be so, but it is for the rogue trader to accuse him of negligence, not you. The governor addresses you once more. Your lordship, accept my deepest apologies for my imprudence. Nothing matters more to me than my honour. I shall send the servants to deal with all of this immediately. I shall return to you later.
I always have a backup plan.
Talk to the Sauerbachs. If I can just get my camera in the right angle. Yeah, this is a classic whodunit. Okay. Is there anything new here? No. I discovered a dead body in my palace. A man of House Gaprak was killed while praying to the Emperor. He had this note on him. Do you know anything about it? Macaris looks at the note without taking it from your hands and replies without hesitation, "Nope, I know nothing about this note." Anything from Regina? No. Anything from Heretic? No. I wonder if not be able to ask them about the note.
To the top, or get left in the dust.
Has fucked this quest up. But anyway, let's carry on. Let's get everyone summoned. I'm ready to pronounce my verdict. Understood, your lordship. Allow me to prepare everything. Many faces are watching you, each and every one awaiting the rogue trader's verdict with bated breath. The charges brought by Governor Drivestem were fabricated. Has Werserian nothing to do with the orchestration of the riots or the plot against the rogue trader. However, the real perpetrators are here in this very room. The seneschal nods to you as if urging you to continue, then shifts his piercing gaze to the crowd before you. Let's have a look. Lots of awareness tests, which I should pass. Urban Drivestem, you have exhibited inexcusable negligence by failing to question the possible involvement of any other family besides Werserians. We have discovered that the attempt on my life was orchestrated by a member of House Gaprak. The governor closes his eyes, fear and shame getting the better of him. Some faces of the crowd look confused and surprised, but you see more wearing expressions of self-satisfied contempt. Abelard looks from the governor to you and subtly shakes his head. He'd say, no, it's not Drivestem pulling the strings here. Urban Drivestem, you have accused House Werserian of violations that were in truth the result of grave error committed by your son. Again, got the same response. And the same response from Abelard. Tariana Gaprak, a member of your family orchestrated an assassination attempt against me, here in my own palace. And although he has already been found dead, his act is reason enough to forever brand your house as traitors. Mocking whispers creep through the crowd. Tariana is trembling faintly. She still does not raise her head, perhaps out of fear of meeting her fate face to face. The seneschal's hard gaze softens. Elusive gesture, visible only to you, conveys the message. Tariana Gaprak is guilty only of her own poor judgment. Macaria Sauerbach, your overt contempt towards me is reason enough to implicate you in the conspiracy. The crowd remained silent, with only the tense, anxious gazes darting back and forth between you, Macarius. Sauerbach's brows rise higher. He noticed his jaw working nervously. Abelard narrowed his eyes and scrutinized Macarius Sauerbach, his retinue standing behind him. For a second, his sharp eyes seemed to have caught sight of something, only to lose track of it the next moment. Disappointed sigh tells you it could be a Sauerbach, but is he really the one behind all this? I know that House Sauerbach offered their help to Gaprax, and the late Halin Gaprax seemed to have accepted the offer. I suspect that you're responsible for his death as well. Sauerbach folds his brows and slightly cocks his head. He averts his gaze for the first time, as if trying to remember or make sense of something. He noticed some restless movements behind him. Abelard narrows his eyes and scrutinizes Macarius Sauerbach and his retinue standing behind him. His sharp eyes light up when he catches sight of something important and hidden in the crowd. The Seneschal looks at you and nods, as if to say, "The puppeteer has given himself away," pronounced the verdict. In the conspiracy against the rogue trader, I find the air in the room is frozen with a tense, almost electrified silence. All the nobles, some with fear and others with reverent anticipation, await your verdict. House Sauerbach guilty. Seneschal, you may take it from here. Oh, I'm still 100 frames a second, but that looked janky. Abelard steps forward and stares intently at House Sauerbach's patriarch. Macarius, I must admit I've always admired your bluntness, but just as I once had to say goodbye to promotion because of my dislike for intrigue, you and your family might soon say goodbye to your heads. Tell me, now in your blunt fashion, are you loyal to House von Valancius? Sauerbach narrows his eyes, grimacing. I am loyal, Werserian. Abelard studies Sauerbach and suddenly nods. You are not lying, but someone else is. Someone who is poised to destroy both you and your family for her own gain. Macarius does not have time to respond. Regina, who is standing beside him, raises her arm as if to slap the elderly Seneschal. Abelard deftly catches her wrist, stopping her hand right in front of his face. Her dainty hand is adorned with a massive augmetic ring, topped with a thin spike dripping with venom. That's not a ring with a spike on it, that's a big fucking knife. Sauerbach shifts his confused gaze from his wife to Abelard and then back again. His stiff arrogance has vanished from his posture. Regina? You? Hetka. Mother. Upon realizing what has happened, Hetka recoils from his mother. Macarius, your bluntness makes you an open book. When I talked about helping the Gaprax, you had no idea what I was referring to. Your wife, on the other hand, her eyes started shifting like you would not believe. Regina Sauerbach, you alone betrayed the rogue trader, jeopardizing the prosperity of the von Valancius trade dynasty, and you alone are responsible for your unmasking. Regina, why would you do this? Like the spike in a ring, Regina's words are dripping with poison and rage. Because Dargones is serving an impostor. The true heir of the Protectorate bears a different name. When Conrad appeared on Dargones, he paid me a visit, and opened my eyes to the truth of the situation. Theodore was killed by the one whom she had so unwarily taken under her wing. Yeah, not me. It was Argenta. Macarius is too narrow-minded to even consider opposing the rogue trader, even an illegitimate one. So I had to wait for the right moment, and the disappearance of the Lord Captain cannot have come at a better time. It's quite simple to trigger the chain of events on Dargones so that people remembered Master Voidvir's past service. It seems that many of your subjects do not actually consider you a worthy successor. Why the Werserians? Because when stripped of the Seneschal's protection, this house is the weakest one in all of Dargones. They are also particularly disliked by the governor's family. It would have been easy to bury the Werserians under accusations of heresy. Who aided you? There's no way you managed all this on your own. Of course, I didn't. I have too many helpers to list them all, but rest assured, there were plenty of them. Just as there were plenty of people who follow Master Voidvir. My death will not change anything. The true rogue trader will come and take his rightful place when the time is right. Why did you kill Halin Gaprax? Halin was a good agent, but he's also a coward. He came to me just before our formidable rogue trader arrived. He was ready to confess everything. I suggested they plead for the Emperor's forgiveness first. And he did grant him mercy, did he not? Abelard, the sentence has yet to be carried out. Finish this. Abelard turns his gaze to you. Does the rogue trader condemn only the rotten apple, or the entire barrel? Could be other members of our family. But if I let them all live, they'll be like super loyal from then on. And they'll be grovelling for forgiveness for a long, long time. Actually, I don't think the game has any kind of concept about it. I will not exterminate an entire noble line that is loyal to me just because of one traitor. And this is just a role-playing aspect. Got the traitor's ring. In that case, Regina Sauerbach shall be subject to intense interrogation, followed by execution. By order of the rogue trader, Regina Sauerbach is sentenced to death for heresy and crimes against the von Valentius trade dynasty. Is that her on the altar? Oh, there. Don't know who that is. Well, that was pretty arduous and long for no reason. Right, there's no such thing as humane death. When the nobles disperse, sated by the bloody performance, Abelard approaches you, steps firm. Lord Captain, you have my thanks. A rogue trader should not waste their time on matters that his servants and trustees can resolve. But in this case, your intervention was necessary. Not just for the sake of my family, but for your trade dynasty as well. Regina Sauerbach, evidently Conrad's accomplices continue to plot against your protectorate. I fear we've not heard the last of such scoundrels. Thanks to you, Lord Captain, House Werserian is saved. Although it came close to being wiped out as a result of scheming without and imprudence within. Abelard pauses for a moment, staring off into the distance. Sometimes I think about how much I could teach them. I could ensure that they survived the future without me. What are you going to do now? I need time to reflect upon what happened and the role I played in it. I think I'll be ready to resume this conversation later, when we're back on board the ship. Abelard bows to you deferentially and turns away, lost in thought. Okay, I've got to find Dan Rock. That is there. Cool. That is for we didn't get much experience, just a little bit here and there for that. That's that done. That's for Cabela's next party thing here somewhere. So, thanks for watching, everyone. The whodunit has been solved. Next episode, a party with Cabela on somewhere around the palace. I think it was here or here. It's going to be. And I'll see you then. Bye for now.